Welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We come to you from the first floor of the governor's offices in Trenton, New Jersey. In a moment, we're going to go upstairs to interview the First Lady of New Jersey, Tammy Murphy. Also on this week's show, thousands gather in Trenton for the annual March on Science, but does it have any effect? Also, the producer of the controversial movie Chappaquiddick is from New Jersey. We'll talk with him. Now, we're going to go upstairs for an interview with the First Lady of New Jersey, Tammy Murphy. Yes, she has an office upstairs near the governor's office. So what is her role in the administration? We ask her. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. I heard so much about this door. I wouldn't normally bring it up, but I'm only bringing it up because I believe that the headlines about the door are a metaphor for people trying to figure out what your role is in the administration, and because you're breaking the mold of who a first lady normally is. And the headlines certainly weren't supported by the articles. The headlines almost seemed a little almost like they were attack ads. They were saying Phil Murphy spends $13,000 for his wife's door. And then you understand, then you find out that the money's been allocated, then you find out, and so were you taken aback by it?
Listen, I can just tell you I am doing everything I can to support Phil and Sheila, and I didn't ask for a particular place or space. I just showed up and this is what I got. Being a female, I have worked, spent my entire career working in many different industries, and I would say that, people are always trying to put people in boxes. I guess that's the only way to phrase it. And I'm very much of a generalist, and so I bring all of my energy to whatever I can on behalf of Phil and Sheila. And I will just keep doing that. That's my goal. The
box for the office has kind of been well set. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we expected a certain thing, and when I say we, I mean the public expects a certain thing when they hear the title First Lady. You're breaking down that box. You're not going to be put in a box.
Like I said, I'm pretty much of a generalist. I currently serve on Al Gore's environmental board. I'm a founding member of his board. I serve on 3 education boards, a hospital board, an arts board, a German-American relations board. So I, in my daily life, am doing a lot of things that could be applicable across different areas of the administration. Phil and I have always worked together as a team. Literally our entire lives, our entire time we've been together, we've done everything together. And so for Phil and for me, it's pretty normal that I'm kind of somewhere, in the background trying to support him in some way. But I guess for other people, it's not so normal.
Yeah, no, and everybody's trying to figure out exactly what your role is. And when I say everybody, I talk to a lot of state senators and assembly people, and they're trying to figure it out. It's something new, and it's because of that they're not sure what they're supposed to do and what your role is. Do you think you need, since you have an office down the hall, to clarify the role, to say this is exactly what it is?
No, I think I just have to keep putting my head down and running in to help Phil and Sheila. I will tell you, I originally had anticipated that I would be headlong working on environmental projects, and that's something I'm really interested in. I think it's incredibly important for our children and their children and our life on this planet. So that's something I'm very interested in, but it's been very clear from the beginning that other things have come up, and so I haven't been able to take a straight line and go and work on environmental issues. When people ask me what I'm working on, and I have the chance to tell them, then people say, "Oh, that's interesting. That's good." So, for example, a study came out recently saying that New Jersey was 47th out of 50th in women in maternal and infant deaths, particularly in racial disparity between African Americans and whites in their first year of life. So Phil asked if I could kind of look at this and see if I can help in any way find a solution for that problem. So it's been incredibly educational for me. I've sat on a roundtable with Bonnie Watson Coleman, and I've done a panel down in Camden. I've done lots of things and met people, and whereas I thought, okay, we're just talking about women and maternal issues, it turns out that's a much bigger problem. It talks about poverty. It speaks to a lack of transportation. It speaks to a lack of prenatal care. And so I've kind of gotten down this little rabbit hole, and I'm finding out that there's lots of lots of space in there that needs to be filled, and I think we can fix this.
Yeah,
So,
I hope it's not just a rabbit hole, because everybody can find problems. It's difficult to find solutions. Are you looking at anything now to help?
yeah, we are. Yes, there are so many stakeholders across New Jersey who are independently doing things that are in their own way chipping away at the problem, but it feels a little bit like best practices are not shared from north, south, east, west across, whether it's people who are in the healthcare sector or people who are working with homeless people or whatever. There's lots of different stakeholders here, and it's been really fascinating for me to speak to them, both with others and on my own. And I think that I'm starting to feel like there's momentum. Everyone wants to fix this, and everyone feels that it is something that can be corrected, particularly in New Jersey. I mean, we have such history with the pharmaceutical industry and healthcare. We should be on the cutting edge on this, and not, on our back heels. So I think that we can do it, and I think that there's a will to make this happen. So yeah, I think we can get out of this mess. But it's not an overnight fix, but something we can fix.
You started this answer by saying that you wanted to focus on environmental issues.
Yes.
But then you found other things that might have been more important at the time. And I'm paraphrasing what you said.
Sure.
I want to go back for a second for the environmental issues.
Sure.
Because there was supposed to be Senate President Sweeney pushed for a subsidy for nuclear power plants, especially the one in Salem, and that was turned down by the governor. If you read press reports, you had a lot of input in that. Is that true?
I'll tell you what, I have learned much more about myself by reading the press over the last 30 days, last 60 days, than I ever knew in my whole life. So the answer is I had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with that. Of course, I'm interested because I'm interested in the environment. So, we have nuclear power in New Jersey, and it's of interest to me. But I had, let me be very clear, exactly nothing to do with the policy on nuclear.
Just so I don't have to check off everything, what else was wrong?
Let's see, my age. There's all sorts of things. There's all sorts of things. No, but that is an example. I mean, I'm all in for renewables, and that's something that I think that we need here in New Jersey, and I'm really excited that that's the direction we will head in.
So you're coming back with another subsidy, and will this subsidy, even though it's going to go, some of the money will go to renewables, is some going to nuclear power?
Listen, I'm not even going to talk about the policy. I will tell you that on this one in particular. I'm just going to tell you that where I think I can add value, particularly on the environmental piece, is by helping with education. I think I need to go out there and help with DEP, on the one hand, explain to people why renewables are important. I need to help in terms of understanding, it impacts workforce development. It impacts our economy. And I think a lot of people believe that if we go for renewables, for example, that we are not going to have the strong economy that we need in New Jersey, and that's a farce. And so when Phil's working on the policy, let him do that, leave me out of it, and let me work on the other piece, which is education.
Well, we'll continue our conversation with New Jersey's First Lady, Tammy Murphy, right after this.